And then we'll move on to the main event. The final fight of the evening, Austin Williams fighting at 160 pounds versus Patrice Volny.
I love Williams. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I won't do it anymore. I promise. All right? I love this kid. There's something about this kid. There's something lovable about him. Just like there's something lovable about Nick Ball. But I think this kid's a pure fighter. I think he's one of the rare kids. I think Ball is too. That would actually fight. It ain't just about the money. It's about being champion. It's about being a fighter. It's about being all of the things that come with being a fighter. The pride, the legacy, the proving of yourself, how it makes you feel, how it makes your family feel. You know, just all of that. Yeah, you got to make money and you got to make a living for your family. But I really do think this kid Williams, and I think Ball, again, I think he fits into the same category, where they would just fight to fight. You know, of course you're going to get paid, but that ain't the first thing on their mind. They want to be fighters. And this kid is a pure fighter. I mean, he's got to get better in certain areas, and he's getting better with Cunningham, Kevin Cunningham, his trainer. I think he is heading in the right direction. But, man, I want to see that kid get a commercial. Boxers don't get commercials. They don't, and they should. And he's a good kid. He's a good kid. There's nothing bad about this kid. He's humble. He says the right things. He's a beautiful kid. I want him to get a commercial. Whoever his manager, Kevin Cunningham is his trainer, good guy. Get him a commercial with Everready, the Energizer battery. You got to get him that commercial because he ain't even faking it. He's really it. They could actually put him with the Energizer Bunny, and he would out-energize the bunny. And again, it wouldn't be a put-on to get paid for a commercial. It would be genuine. It would be real. I mean, that guy's in the corner like this, but I mean, either he's had too many cups of coffee, you know, tapped off by Red Bull, and that's another one. Give him a Red Bull commercial. Really. That kid is energy personified. He is when they talk about somebody being a bundle of energy, that's him. That's him. Again, you don't have to go to Webster's dictionary. Just look at this kid. Unbelievable. Go ahead. I'm sorry, but I had to. Oh man, that kid. When I watched him last night, he tugged at my heart because he's so genuine. He's so pure. He's like, there's nothing false about that kid. There's nothing fake about that kid. He's an open book. He's showing you his vulnerabilities. He's showing you what he cares about. He's showing you everything. He's like this. Okay. I mean, oh man. But you got to harness it. He's the kind of kid that, and it showed. He could have too much heart and energy for his own good. He could run into punches if it's not harnessed. And Kevin Cunningham's trying to do that. His trainer, his experienced trainer. If that's not harnessed, he's the kind of kid has too much heart. He'll just go fight you. He'll just go fight you when you shouldn't just go fight a guy. You should move and you should pick your spots. You know, you should do like we always say with the Kenny Rogers song. Know when to hold him. Know when to fold him. Know when to walk away. I don't think this kid Williams ever listened to that song. He doesn't know when to walk away. He's learning a little bit. Well, he's trying to learn.
Yeah, everything you're saying, I could see. He was so humble after the fight. It does seem so genuine. And we spent some time around him. He was on that 5 vs. 5 card in Saudi Arabia. Same thing. What you see is what you get. He fell up short that time versus Hamza Shiraz, but it was good to see him bounce back. This is his second fight win now since coming back from that loss to Shiraz. I thought it was a really competitive fight, very intriguing fight, stylistically made for a really good matchup, right? The Southpaw Ammo Williams.
I think make room in that jail. Make room in that jail cell for those other judges that we want to put in there. Make room. Make a little extra room to put a couple other judges that had it, 118?
118, 110. Yeah, we're running out of room for these guys. 118, 110, not acceptable. It's way too wide. With that being said, I did think the right man got the decision in Ammo Williams, just much closer than the 118, 110.
Much closer. Much closer.
The 116, 112 was even a little wide, and then the 115, 113 is probably more of the way I saw it. But the Southpaw Williams, the more dimensional guy, the better movement, the better boxer, more skilled. But Volny, busier, for sure. Much busier. And Volny, long, wiry, strong, steady, pressure and coming forward. I wanted to see more dog in Volny. I wanted to see more urgency. I wanted to see more juice to him. I wanted to see him take more chances. And there was some opportunities and some openings there to catch Williams. And I thought he could have did more. But in the end, credit to Ammo Williams. What'd you think of the fight overall? And he's back in the picture now at 160 pounds.
I jumped. Excuse me. I jumped the gun. I told you what I thought about him right from the start. But I'll go down the road to more control. I'll try to be what Williams needs to be. More controlled, more patient. Not just a bundle of energy. I'll try to be a little more cerebral. And I will... I saw in Williams an energy-packed kid, as I already said, that throws a lot of punches. He's a southpaw. He's very game. He's very hungry. He's very, very intent on being the best he can be and being a champion. He's obsessed with that. Really, more than making money. He's obsessed with, he wants to be a champion. And I think, I want to see this kid become a champion. I didn't think Volny got any credit, near the credit he deserved for what he was doing. They both had opposite styles and approaches. Williams, very busy, quantity. Volny, not busy, patient, the opposite of Williams, but quality. He was placing shots. If patience is a virtue, in the case of Volny, it might have actually been a detrimental because he was too patient. He was patient where I understood it, where he was looking to take advantage of Williams being reckless, throwing too many, time him, and he did. Volny showed that kind of boxing mentality, acumen, ability, where he knew when to throw. He was looking to time Williams in between shots with the hook. He was looking to catch him in the body in spots. He should have went to the body more. He was looking to throw quality punches, the right punches at the right time. He almost fought the kind of fight where he was saying to you, I know I'm not going to be ahead on the scorecards, or I might put myself in a vulnerable position with the judges by not throwing a lot. But this is my style. I'm going to throw only when I think they can land. I'm not going to waste anything. I'm going to throw meaningful, properly placed punches. And he did. He just didn't do enough of it. He again, patience is a virtue. In this case, it was an enemy. He could have been... Actually, here's another movie from my man Bennett. My man, Bennett, you're the best. And Rob Moore, you're the best too. It used to be your job, and we appreciate it. But Bennett, you're doing a great job. Remember that movie, Trading Places, with Eddie
Murphy?
Eddie Murphy. the great Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, where they traded places, right? These guys got up to no good, and they traded their identities, and they traded places, right? They had a dollar bet. It was a good movie. It was a funny movie. It was pretty damn good. Williams and Volny should have traded places a little bit, where Volny could have used a little of that energy of Williams, and Williams could have used just a little bit of that patience of Volny. They could have helped each other. They could have traded off. You agree, bud?
I couldn't agree more, but they also could have traded places in the corner, the coaches. I wanted Volny to have a trainer that's going to give him some juice, what I'm used to with you, and motivate and bring it out of him.
And you know what? That, again, you're getting a raise this episode. You just got a raise. You earned a raise this week. You did. Because that's another beautiful point that Pops missed. Pops missed. Yeah, I'm losing my fastball. I'm losing a little something off my fastball. But you're there. You're there to pick me up. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they could have traded places with the corner where you had Kevin Cunningham on him, riding him. Come on, let's get going. You got to, getting on him. But what I liked about Kevin Cunningham, he mixed it up. He gave him tough love, but then he gave him love. He pushed him, but then he saw, there was a round later, he saw this kid's not going to react well to only being chastised, to only being hit with the whip. I gotta give him a little this. I gotta give him a little hug. I gotta give him a little pat. And so he mixed it up pretty good. And Williams is a sensitive kid. Where I think he was right. I think Williams needs a little bit of both. And see, I've been in this business my whole life. If I don't know how to read people, forget how good I might be at teaching and X's and O's. But you gotta know the instinctual part of a fighter. You gotta know the human nature part. What is going on inside the fighter? Not outside, inside. And again, to your point, Volny could have used Williams' trainer, Cunningham, in the corner to hype him up a little, to energize him, to light a fire under his backside a little bit, 100%. And Williams could have used in spots maybe a little bit of, all right, calm it down. Although Cunningham, I think, was mixing it pretty good. But a little bit of don't overly get hyped. Control it. Stay within yourself. Don't get too much because you'll get reckless and you throw one too many at the wrong time. And while you're throwing one too many, you'll get caught because Volny's looking to catch you. He's looking to time you. And he did it all night. And his plan from the beginning was apply steady pressure behind the jab. They both used their jab pretty well. Very tall. Volny is really tall. Williams has good height, but man, Volny's tall. Volny pressed behind the jab, and he looked to have that pressure the first 3 or 4 rounds to do a job, to start to do a job. And it takes time for that job to wear him down. Pressure wears you down, but it takes time. The application of it has to be over 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you start seeing it, 8, 9. Then you start seeing it. There's one problem. When that's going to be your approach, and that was Volny's approach, not to be busy, to apply pressure, control with a jab. He used his jab like a scalpel. I mean, it wasn't like a hatchet. I mean, he was like a surgeon, boom, boom. He had a good jab. He was only throwing it when he knew it was going to be able to land. Very accurate, like a scalpel, just boom, boom. He didn't, he's like a plastic surgeon. He didn't want to cut you up. He wanted to cut just in the right places. And he was doing that. And he was applying pressure. That again, Volny's plan was it'd pay dividends later in the fight. It'll start to wear him down later in the fight. There's one problem with that approach. You give up rounds early while you're doing it. You fall behind. So that means that's fine. If it's going to pay off by wearing a guy down later, you did it It was a calculated risk. There was a method to your madness. You understood. I've done it with my fighters. You understood why you were doing it. But you better understand when it's time to pick it up. You better understand that when you get to that red line. When you get to that red line, again, here's another movie thing. I know you love them, but I don't care. I'm throwing it in there. Justice for All, Al Pacino. What a movie. Bennett! The one where he's in a helicopter with the crazy judge. The judge's a nut. The judge is like got a suicide thing going on. You know, he eats his lunch outdoors on the ledge, like 10 stories up, where he eats his lunch out there. And so he takes Al Pacino, the lawyer, in a helicopter ride. And then he's nervous to begin with. Pacino's got to talk to him about a client, so he goes. But he's nervous already. He goes, oh, my God, we're up in a helicopter. Are we going to be safe? Yeah, don't worry. You're going to be okay. Oh, we just passed it. Passed what? The point of no return. What do you mean, Judge? What point? Well, you see, I calculate every time I go out on the helicopter how much gas I have to get back. And I go a little past the halfway point. Oh, my God, you went past the halfway point. Oh, my, Jesus. Well, are we going to get back? And they got back, and then they crashed in the shallow end. They just about made it, right? That's kind of what I'm describing with Volny. You're calculating that halfway point when you got to start stepping it up. And if you go a little past it, you don't step up soon enough, you blow the fight. He went he was like the crazy judge. He went a little past that halfway point before he started stepping it up. He didn't step it up quite early enough or quite consistent enough. Either way, I want to give him his due. I thought it was a close fight. I thought there were rounds he won that the judges obviously didn't give him credit for. Where, yeah, he was outworked just about every round. But there were rounds where he outlanded the other guy, where he landed the more telling punches, the cleaner punches, which is the criterion for professional scoring. It is supposed to be about who lands the most damaging punches, the cleanest, more effective punches. That's what it's supposed to be about. I thought there were rounds where Volny landed. He got outworked. But he landed the more cleaner, effective punches in the rounds, and he didn't get credit. He didn't get, maybe the 115, 113 gave him a little credit, but the other two guys, I don't know what the freak they were watching. Maybe they were watching that movie Justice for All while we were watching the fight. Maybe they were watching that. I hope you enjoyed that, fellas. I hope you liked Al Pacino when he was younger. But you sure as hell didn't do your job in the ring because Volny deserved more. Yeah, Williams deserved to win, but that was a closer fight, much closer, much closer than Volny was ever given credit for. So at the end of the day, Volny's approach, contrasting styles. You know, he was a guy that was just going to place punches. Williams was going to throw punches. The guy who threw, he placed some too, Williams. I'm not going to say he didn't. But at the end of the day, I'll give credit to Williams on this. When he had to win a round, I thought there were rounds that got away from him late, where, again, Volny was starting to come on, starting to get momentum, starting to, again, land the cleaner shots, the more telling shots. But every time Williams got to a little bit of backed into a corner, if you will, when he had to do a little more, he did. When he had to all of a sudden pull out a round, he did. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of energy. Again, if Kevin Cunningham can just keep that controlled, there might be a title in his future. And I don't think we've seen the end of Volny. Volny is a dangerous opponent for anybody. He's tall. They both cover up real well. That's their defense for the most part. They put the earmuffs on. I mean, man, they go into that peekaboo cover up, especially Volny. He reminds me a little bit of.
Winky,
What
right?
the heck? Wink. Yes, there you are. See, Richie, make sure he gets a bonus this week.
Yeah, I thought the same thing watching the fight. The size and, just what you're saying, the cover up, the high guard, like Winky Wright, and not really trying to block the punches, catching them more off of the guard.
Yeah, well, blocking him, but he's not catching him the way some people are going to say, oh, Teddy, he wasn't catching. He was blocking him, catching him on arms. Yes,
Right.
Yes, I understand. But I understand what you mean. I just want to make sure that our audience out there, they can be vicious. They can be a little vicious sometimes. They're good, though. They're good. You know what they're like? Here's another movie. They're like the Gremlins. Just don't feed them after midnight.